Every year, countless people vanish across the United States. Most are eventually located, some alive, others not. But then there are the rare cases where someone simply slips out of existence, leaving behind no trace, no clues, and no answers. These disappearances become legends, kept alive by rumors, strange evidence, and the chilling realization that a person can be surrounded by trails, signs, and people, and still be swallowed by silence. The case of Jared Michael Negrete is one of the most unsettling examples of this phenomenon. The United States is home to some of the wildest terrain on Earth. Tourists picture cities like Los Angeles or New York, but most Americans live only a short drive from vast deserts, harsh mountains, or deep forests. These landscapes are beautiful, but they can turn deadly with little warning. And disturbingly, many vanishings don't occur in remote wilderness, but near well-used paths where safety should be almost guaranteed. One such earlier case occurred in 1988. 24-year-old Timothy Barnes, a strong and experienced hiker, set out toward the Polydome Lakes in Yosemite. The area is rugged but popular and well-mapped. Barnes never arrived, and despite extensive searches, nothing, not even his gear, was ever recovered. Years later, in 2015, a rafting guide known as Heimer stepped behind a tree near the Colorado River after securing his boats. He was wearing a helmet and life vest, and dozens of people were close by. He never returned. A 6-day search found no evidence he had ever been there. But the case that still haunts thousands is that of 12-year-old Jared Negrete, whose disappearance remains one of California's most baffling mysteries. Jared was born on September 11, 1978, and lived with his family in El Monte, California. He was an energetic, curious kid who joined a Boy Scout troop connected to his church in Big Bear. In July 1991, he joined a group outing into the San Bernardino Mountains, with the goal of climbing Mount San Gorgonio, the tallest peak in Southern California. That morning, Jared left home wearing his Boy Scout uniform, carrying snacks, a full canteen, and a small camera. The only questionable part of his outfit was his footwear. Instead of hiking boots, he wore high-top sneakers, which offered little protection on rough terrain. Jared had limited mountain experience and was unused to high elevation. At 1.58 meters tall and 68 kilos, he wasn't in poor health, but the sudden jump to over 3,000 meters could easily cause fatigue or altitude sickness. He also wore glasses, but apparently didn't bring them that day. The troop consisted of Jared, 4 other boys, and 1 adult leader, Dennis Knight. They took the Vivian Creek Trail, a notoriously steep 27-kilometer round trip. The first day passed smoothly, but as they climbed higher on day 2, Jared fell far behind. Witness accounts differ. Some claim the leader knowingly left him at a rest stop, promising to pick him up on the return. Others say Knight pushed ahead after hearing from hikers that a scout was lagging but still moving. What is certain is that Jared eventually ended up completely alone. Because it was a busy hiking day, many people later reported spotting a small boy hiking by himself. One group, including an off-duty firefighter, warned Jared to stay on the main trail and avoid shortcuts. But other hikers saw him afterward cutting across switchbacks, possibly trying to catch up. Those were the last confirmed sightings. When the troop descended later that evening, Jared was gone. Darkness was falling, so the leader conducted only a brief search before guiding the remaining boys down the mountain. At dawn the next morning, a massive search began. Helicopters with infrared cameras, dogs, ground teams, and volunteers scoured nearly 330 square kilometers of treacherous terrain. Cliffs, ravines, dense brush, and unstable rock fields. Yet the first day ended with no findings. On day 2, rescuers discovered a single shoe print off the trail. It matched the sneakers Jared had been wearing, but the footprint was located dangerously close to steep drop-offs. No additional tracks were found nearby. Days later, the firefighter who had spoken to Jared guided teams back to the area where he last saw the boy. The search zone was tightened. On July 23rd, searchers made the most significant discovery of the entire operation: Jared's backpack. It lay at the bottom of a slope, untouched. Inside were food wrappers, dried meat, and his camera, containing 12 undeveloped photos. When the film was processed, the first 11 images showed typical scenery, but the 12th was disturbing. An extremely close shot of Jared's face, taken at night, illuminated only by a flash. Only his eyes and nose were visible. Whether he took it accidentally, used the flash to navigate darkness, or was trying to signal distress, no one knows. And the biggest question remained: why would he abandon his pack, food, and camera? And where did he go next? A 16-day search followed, involving more than 3,000 people. But not another shred of evidence was ever located. No clothing, no equipment, no bones, nothing. The official explanation was that Jared likely fell or succumbed to exposure. But the total lack of remains puzzled experts. Even in mountain terrain, vultures and wildlife are easily noticed during searches. None were seen, and if he had fallen into thick brush, search dogs should have detected him. They never did. 10 years later, in 2001, another teen named William Parvin vanished on the same mountain, only to reappear days later in a distant town. He had taken a wrong turn, fallen, become dehydrated, and suffered hallucinations. A living example of how disorientation in the mountains can rapidly become life-threatening. Jared's parents joined that search, painfully aware of the parallels. Theories about Jared's disappearance are many. A fatal fall into an inaccessible area, altitude sickness, which can cause confusion and irrational decisions, a river accident with water carrying remains far beyond the search zone, an abduction, given the heavy foot traffic that day, or, more strangely, paranormal events, including UFO encounters or missing time, both rumored in that region for decades. None of these theories fully explain the mystery. More than 30 years later, no trace of Jared has ever been found. His final photograph, a frightened boy alone in the dark, remains one of the most haunting pieces of lost person evidence in modern search and rescue history. His story is a reminder of how unforgiving nature can be, and how sometimes, even in places filled with hikers, signs, and trails, a person can step off the path and vanish forever.